Peace and blessings, YouTube family. Hope everyone has had a wonderful Sunday. It has been a beautiful day here once again in the A. I want to welcome you to another edition from the Doctor's Corner. Um, Certainly just wanted to spend some time with you and in terms of following up on several previous conversations. We've had conversations in terms of figuring out what your boiling point is in that discussion. Also, just talking about your resolve. And you ever had a day where it just seems like you're being tested from corner to corner. Your resolve is being tested. Today has been somewhat of that day, right? For me personally, as we talk about what do you do, right? What do you do when you have those type days? What do you do when life is, you know, throwing everything of craziness at you? How do you turn that into lemonade? How do you make that life's lemonade, right? So, for me, family, I just want to share with you, that's, I come out in terms of come out on my property and just breathing God's air is so therapeutic, right? You get a chance to be able to hear, um, hear the birds. Um, you just see life from a different perspective, right? And I think that is something that, regardless of where you are, um, that's actually a deer that's running in my yard now. So when you start seeing that kind of that level of life, right? That level of activity kind of helps you reset somewhat, right? Kind of helps you um, somewhat regroup, help you kind of gauge in terms of what's really important. Um, Calms your spirit down somewhat in terms of as bad as things may appear, as testy as things may appear. The reality is, uh, you still have an opportunity to be able to view it through a lens of gratefulness. You know, because I respect the fact that everyone does not have the same tools, right? They don't have the same opportunities to be able to, um, just simply walk out and be amongst nature, um, you know, on the property, right? I mean that's just a tremendous blessing. So I want to, be sure that I give thanks and it helps me in terms of just you know once again we're just realizing what's important and realizing that um, you know take it day by day. Um, there will be good days, there will be bad days, there will be up days, there will be days that may even fall in between. But the reality is, um, you know, life is as great as we. Um, it's as great as we position ourselves to view it, right? I mean, it's all about perspective. I'm reading a book now that I read this book years ago when I was pursuing my master's and in organizational change and organizational leadership, and it's basically pertaining about change. in terms of effective leadership. And so maybe I'll share that with you all later on. But it's very profound, specifically as we look at where we are today and what we're dealing with today, um, politically as a society and that sort of a thing. Um, but today I don't want to get into that today. I just want to, go into a level of to encourage each of you, whatever you're going through, whatever your tests, whatever your trials are. I'll encourage you, find whatever it is you need that settles you, that calms your spirit. If you don't have the opportunity to be able to get out, and maybe nature is not even your thing, right? Maybe nature is something that it may be. Forgive me, I'm trying to out here just setting up. But nature may not be your thing. That's why I've said before, if you're a reader, find something that you can read that calms your spirit. If you're a writer, get your pen and pad out, right? Get your pad out, right? Whatever device, your voice recorder, and just get moving, right? Just get started on it and set small goals for yourself for you to be able to create those small wins and throw out and don't, completely disregard what others may have to say about it or what others think about it. This is your life. So, whatever it is, right? Somebody else may say, well, that's not a large enough accomplishment to acknowledge. Well, for them, maybe not, but for you, it may be, right? For example, I've made it a commitment when I first began this channel, to come to you every single day and have a conversation with you, right? And I don't know. I'll give you an update maybe the next time we talk, but I think we are 14 days in. I think. Don't quote me on that one, but I think we are. We are. We have to be at least 12 days in consecutively that we've met, that we've had a discussion, and so for me, that's a small win for me, right? There have been some very tough days, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in those 12, 14, however many days it's been. I'm curious about it now. I want to look at that once we conclude this conversation today. But just saying with your family, find whatever it is that can get you, moving further along your pendulum of success, of you know um, being all that you want to be, right? Of having life the way that you want to have it, the way that you want to define it. I mean, at the end of the day, this thing that we call life, we hold the brush, right, in terms of how we're going to paint that and how it's going to look. And so, it's up to us in terms of how this frame will be. And so, I just encourage you, find whatever way you possibly can. My theme has been consistently from day one on this channel in terms of self-care. Um, I'm really honing in on that big time because there's another YouTuber. I follow his channel. It's a financial channel. He provides great, phenomenal information. Um, that brother is, one of the things what I really like about him as well is he don't come to you with a lot of jargon that you can't understand. He talks to you straight, just like you're sitting down, just like we're having a conversation, right? The other thing about him that I think is phenomenal is he shared his personal story. And for me that goes a long way because you hear people talk all the time about how to do this and how to do that, and you're sitting there wondering like, well, does that work for you? I mean, has that been the thing that has worked for you, and where's the proof of that, right? So with that, I got to tell you, family, I'm just as it relates to, well, better put those back on because eyes are still, that's one of the things I've shared with each of you. I've been dealing with that scenario of my eyes, and so that's a constant challenge. I would have thought by now. I've gone to the doctor and gone through that whole process, and they got me on medication and that sort of thing. I certainly thought that by now I would be much better. I really, to be completely transparent with you, thought this would be behind me, but it is not. And so, it's things like that just, just life, right? That just, was when we talk about life be life, and right, that just, it pokes at you. You got these different things that pokes at you, and when you add that into the normal day-to-day events of caregiving, it all sometimes get heavy. It gets heavy, and it gets trying, and have you where you begin, you're thinking about all kind of thoughts in your mind in terms of did you do the right thing, and you really begin to start operating in that emotional mind, right? In terms of all the things that you felt you could take care of and you could shoulder and do, and then life begins to challenge you in a way that makes you wonder, man, I don't know, right? Is it time to throw in the towel, sort of a thing? Particularly when you have support cast around you that appears to not give the level of input that you need to have. And I'm kind of veering right now, but I'm really talking about caregiving, right? You know, in terms of, and particularly those of you who, if you're dealing with your family member that's struggling with dementia and that sort of a thing, you certainly would understand what I'm talking about in terms of when you got outside factors that come in and really don't make the situation better, right? They don't, they come in and they'll create a scenario that and then they leave, and you're left with the cleanup, right? And that's the part that really, my God, it blows your mind and blows your brain, because then you start thinking, this is where the emotional part comes in, right? Because you start thinking, man, are they trying to sabotage me? Are they trying to make things worse? And so it's all of that, right? But I certainly, in terms of my mind, in terms of my spirit, I feel tremendously better. After coming out and sitting out on the deck, and you look around and you're like, God, wow, thank you for blessing us. Thank you for allowing us to be able to be in this position where um, I can come out and be amongst your creation of life, of deer, of different types of eagles, and of course the squirrels, and it's just, um, I'm grateful, family. And so I pray for you. You find a way. You find your source of inspiration. You find your source of peace, um, whatever that is. If you've ever gone somewhere and visited somewhere and mountains, lakes, rivers, streams, whatever that really touch your heart, find a way to create that in your own space, right? I mean, if the sound of running water is something that provides a level of peace to you, you know, you can buy those little things where I got one that you can, put on your desk, and it's got little rocks, real rocks. You know, um, it's probably about that, that large. It fits right on your dresser. You and you plug it up, and the water can run through, and they even have some that's got lights that will change. I mean, it literally is like a micro version of what you would see out in someone's elaborate luxury yard. And it's all about creating that level of zen, creating that level of peace. So I encourage you to do that in whatever way you possibly can, and feed yourself, continue to feed yourself, continue to feed your spirit and your soul, because at the end of the day, no one is going to do that more than you in terms of feeding, because you know directly when there is um, when there's a void. You know when your strength is being depleted, and so find a way. For those of you who, if you have a network that you can tap into that sort of gives you that energy, by all means do that, right? I'm not that big on that part, simply because that can go away, right? I mean, but if that works for you, that's fine. Let it work for you. For me, I look to find sources that are sustainable, that can give to me 110% of when I need it, without um, without fail. So anyway, family, I'm losing a little bit of my daylight out here, and so, but I just wanted to uh, greet you, and bid the best of day and evening to you, and certainly hope you have had a wonderful day. Hope you have enjoyed your weekend, and certainly hope you're prepared for fantastic oncoming week. Do all you can to bless yourself in every way you can. Get that exercise in, family. Please get that exercise in. Eating alone or eating correctly alone is not going to do it. You got to add that exercise in with that. Get that blood flowing to a level to where it can begin to help you push out, some of those toxins that are not good for us. So anyway, hey, listen, take care. Until we talk again, peace, be well.